Hello, Mirror Meets, everybody. It's Michele Marie Dalene. We are live, and we don't have anything specific to cover, but we are here, and so we're gonna just shoot the breeze and talk about stuff. I'll try to keep up with the chat as well. Although, to be honest, it's not always easy. So we have been taking some time to try to chill, working with different things, projects behind the scenes. Oops, here's my phone. One of the things is that we have been working on is the trying to relax. Now I turned the fan off earlier because it was a little chilly, but then I had the stove on because I had leftover lasagna. I didn't go out to any place to eat. I just had some food here at the house, and so I had a frozen lasagna I had bought, and I never cooked it, so I cooked it, and so I had that for dinner today. So I saved money. How you doing, Gammy Fairy? Just eating frozen food that I had in my freezer, and I woke up this afternoon, it was a little chilly, so I figured put the frozen lasagna in the oven and heat up the place a tiny bit. And it certainly did heat up the place quite a bit, actually. So I had to turn my window fan on to get some of the heat out of here because it's got a little bit too hot with the oven on. I mean, sure, theoretically I could have cooked it in the toaster oven. It would have fit, but I just said, nah, I'll just put it in the regular oven. So we don't, so today, besides cooking dinner, I took a nap, I chilled out, and I talked to another AI today called Claude. Also, I switched my my therapy sessions to a monthly plan at $45 a week versus $65 a week. So that saves me about $80 a month, so 4 weeks. So that was a good reason to switch to another plan by the month instead of by the week, because that means I can just kind of have a little bit tighter control of the money. And the therapy does work. I actually will stand behind that. It's helped me feel a bit better about myself, and feeling like realizing I'm not as messed up as I thought I was, which is saying a lot about being messed up. But that's the reason why we do what we do. I made lasagna and Bosco sticks. And what's Bosco sticks? I know what corn and green beans are, but what's Bosco sticks? So this is a stuff for frozen lasagna that I bought about 3 months ago and had it in my freezer the whole time. So I figured I might as well eat it. And because I didn't go to the grocery store, I didn't go out to eat, I didn't use the ATM, like Lemmy said, now we can pay off the electric bill of the $147 and get them paid off before it's due, so it won't cross the mail, because Social Security disability comes in on the 3rd, which technically is after the electric bill is due. I never been at the risk of losing my service because I'd always paid it, but still, getting slapped in the face with a 1% late fee doesn't exactly make me happy, you know. So that's something to keep in mind. And let's see. Got 10 watching. Oh, okay, cool. Now, I also like to remind people that we'd love to see more of you be on the Discord if you're not already on the Discord. Our Discord is where we get together, we talk about things that we can't talk about on the show because of copyrights or whatever. Hi, Jason, how you doing? How you doing? In fact, why don't we post a link to the Discord? Let's see, shift, exclamation point, hit send. Okay, so we'll send the link out to the Discord, so those of you who've never been there, check it out. That's our Discord. Unfortunately, there's stupid heart icons in my way. I can't. Well, let's get some hearts to all you guys anyway that are here. Okay. Oh, wait a minute, I just got it. Okay. Oh, wait, what did I just click on? You just went back to the other channel. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, pin message. There you go. So you guys can check out the Discord channel if you're not on it. So we got this video, watching and driving, okay. Still got to download Discord, still haven't. Jason, if you get a chance, get to it, check it out. The chat areas, there's 3 or 4 of them. The main one is the lounge. It's kind of like a pub. People come together, cover, talk about different things. So what exactly was kind of unique to remember about the ride home yesterday? Well, remember, I told you is that I plan things in advance, including contingency plans. And so that's why we didn't freak out, because we had a contingency plan in effect, ready to go, which was, given the size of the hospital campus was so huge. The first thing I did was I thought that they were going to pick me up at the same place that they dropped me off, which wouldn't be too far from the truth. Except where they dropped me off was a different place than they picked me up. Okay? Initially, they were going to pick me up at the front door of the hospital building, the original hospital building, which would have been fine. But I was actually, now I think about it, I was dropped off at the MRI section. Okay? So, or at least I think I was. Maybe I wasn't, I don't know. The point was I was dropped off someplace completely different. And I couldn't find the original place. So, because I had allocated for that, I said, well, what if they picked me up at a different place and they picked me up? I said, well, we're going to have a whole friggin' hour to figure it out, which is exactly what happened. And so And Lemmy said, well, we might as well just go out there and just try to find where they dropped you off. Instead of looking in the map and seeing that the black dot is where they're picking you up, the blue dot is where you are in the Uber app. And if I had known that, it said the black dot was the front door of the hospital building I was in, I would have said, oh, actually, we don't have to go anywhere. We're already here. But I didn't know that, and because I didn't know what the different dots were in the app, so I just kind of went, all right, let's go for a walk. Let's try to find out where they dropped us off so we can meet them there. Well, we never did find the original place. So at least we may have found it, but then we may have lost it. Just thinking it was a different time of day, the sun was in a different position in the sky. So those different shadows and things like that. So we walked around for a whole hour, up and down hills, in and out of the parking lot, wrong angles, right angles, black alleys, front streets, service alleys, you name it. We've been there, okay? And we even got to see things where the incinerator was and all that they have, and the hospital. So it was about 12:25 when we finally got to the MRI building. So I said, well, Loma, I don't know what this, and she looked at, she figured out the dot. She said, wait a minute, Michelle, the black dot is where they are gonna be, and the blue dot is where we are. And I said, and it's showing us that we have to go up, all the way up the hill again to get there. I said, I ain't doing it. She said, you wouldn't have had time anyway. But there was an option to text the driver. So we texted the first driver, and he decided, well, he couldn't make it, so he had to cancel. So we canceled that one, and then we went ahead and we requested a new ride, which we got from Mustafa, which picked us up. I told him I was at the MRI building of patient services, because that's where I was. And he picked me up. I was very grateful to be able to get home. Now, what would happen if I had taken Dial-A-Ride? Well, if I had taken Dial-A-Ride, if I had missed the pickup point, they're not going to come back when I call them and go, hey, wait a minute, I still need a ride home. Sorry, you already missed us. We're out of here. Call a cab. In other words, I would have been still stuck on money anyway. Yeah, but because Michelle planned all of this, all the possible contingencies, we didn't panic, we didn't freak, because Michelle already had a backup plan in place. Right. I mean, true, if we were in the middle of nowhere, i.e., like, where there really is very few Uber drivers, that probably would have been less likely. We would have picked up as soon as we were. But we were at the hospital. People were taking Uber to patients' appointments every day. So after he dropped off one guy, another Uber took the fare and picked us up, and we went home. And that worked out fine. And that was not a reserved appointment. That was actually a schedule at the spur of the moment, which worked out fine for me. And so I got a chance to get that stuff done, and we got a chance to get something organized. Story time, yeah. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Krista. How you doing? Hi, whatever. What are you up to? Yeah, that was exactly what happened, and it was and like Stan CD would say, well, did you do your 1,000+ steps today? Not today, but I certainly did more than 1,000+ steps yesterday. We didn't even sit down after we started walking. I mean, one woman was nice enough to give us a quick ride to building 1, but we thought that was the wrong building. And so we went around the building a second time. A whole nother trip in the outer perimeter of the hospital complex. And then we finally pulled back to the MRI building and said, just let them know we're here because I'm not going to go up the hill. That's just asking too much. That's what we did. Yeah. I kept egging Michelle on. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And Michelle was so tired. Her legs were so sore. Oh my God. They were tender. Oh. Stick a fork in me, I was done. But at least the weather was cool. At least it wasn't too hot. So we got stuff done. And, by the way, for those of you who don't know this, maybe you can't tell, Rusty is sitting in the window right now over there, enjoying the light breeze, and, yeah, light breeze, and, yeah. Yeah. PDX is John Lyon. Who the fuck cares? Seriously. People in my Discord got to see me shake my boobs without the bra. Trust me, it was way more exciting. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, that's actually true. I did actually show some people late night. I was in my nightgown. I just chose to just say, hey, guys, since I'm in my nightgown, we know my boobs are going to hang out anyway. This is what they look like. It's true. I smell a campfire starting up. Yep. So today I was going to play music. I chose not to because I was still a little bit tired from yesterday. I just went back to sleep. I ended up sleeping from 1:15 to 3, and then I was going to get up and play some music. And my brain said, nah, screw it, just sleep a little longer. And I said, fine. So I slept a little longer and woke up about 4:30. Time to make the dinner. And I cooked the dinner up, which is frozen lasagna. And then the reason we chose not to go out to eat is because $402.57 doesn't go very long when you start throwing in a frozen, going to the ATM to take out $40 for lunch or dinner, and then go ahead and go to dinner at McGrain's, then come back home, and now you are only got $382, and then you got to pay $147 electric bill. And that means it's going to leave you with what, $240, 240. And so we just said, screw it. So we just stayed home. That's what we did. I did call in my refill for my levothyroxine this morning for my thyroid. Hopefully the refill should be ready in 3 days because it said contact doctor for refill. So the pharmacy contacted them so I can get my levothyroxine. I have 6 pills left, which should be enough for 6 days. And it turns out that for some reason the manufacturer is not putting in 25 microcentigrams in the pills. Manufacturer's defect or whatever. It's more like 20, I think. 20 milligrams, microcentigrams. Okay, that's problem disposal, right? So the so that's one of the reasons why my doctor wants me to take an extra pill on the weekend to try to get back to where it should be for my thyroid. And I'm trying to remember to do that. But sometimes I forget. Speaking of pills, did you take your multivitamins today? Not yet. Ah, you gotta get those in too. Yeah, I do. That's what she has left, $240. Her electric bill is $140. Yes. No, I have 402. But if I pay the electric bill, I'm going to be left with about 260, which for the middle of the month is not really bad. That's not including the money coming from YouTube. So, yeah. Well, that's because Michelle's also doesn't have central air conditioning, which she does have an air conditioner in the window in the bedroom, but obviously today it's not on. No, not today, no. It was on a fan last night to keep the air circulating in there. But soon it'll be time to take the air conditioner out of the window, and then I can stuff the window fan in there until it's too cold for the window fan, and then I'll take the window fan out of the window and just close the window for the season. That way I can get an airflow. It's just like these, we have the window fan blowing on right now, right next to Rusty the cat. You can see Rusty over there. Let me show you with this camera. Let's switch it over this way. Yeah, I can see him over there in the window. There we go. There's a furry ball for a cat. There's a giving tree. This has got to be updated. I haven't added any new slips of paper because there's so many people that have been donating on the tree. They're still donating, and just trying to keep up all of the slips is kind of a bit of a headache. So yeah. There's over there, you can probably see it, is the picture Noodles drew of me. Now we can't see it over behind the giving tree. So, there's a console television. I haven't been using it because I don't have a TV license, so I haven't really had anything to watch on it. I got it. Yeah. A star is a member and a wand is a crown. Right. Anyway, we still would love to see more people donate to the channel. Okay, now as far as YouTube, I really wish you'd stop just showing top messages. Why can't you... Any fan funding? None. Oh. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I know. Okay. I didn't break that. Better solo. So haven't really figured out like what we're gonna do. Like I said, I didn't play the music today for myself. I just kind of just wanted to sleep a little longer. And I woke up, as I said, cooked dinner, and here I am. Oh, and then I started talking to Claude from Anthropic to try to get to learn about the other AIs for free. And then I switched BetterHelp to the monthly plan and lowered my bill by $20 each week. So that's going to make a difference. Like I said, the therapy does work. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, let's be honest. If you're paying $180 for 4 weeks versus $180 to $200 a single day of therapy, that's pretty good savings. You know, that's a lot of savings. That's like saving, well, let's see, $180 for 4 weeks times $800 for 4 weeks of in-office therapy. First one would really seriously empty your credit card, debit cards big time. Oh yes, definitely. So I think that was a good choice to help me to begin the process of the therapy and helping myself to continue my recovery after all the years of struggles. Yes, I do have a weekly appointment in my therapy sessions. It's on Wednesdays. That's when I do them. Wednesdays at 6 to 6:45. That's why for the Turtle Wow, we're going to be playing about 7:30. That way I have time to get ready to switch from therapy to Turtle Wow, turn the computer on. And that works out fine, you know. Normally between 6 and 6:45. I mean, I am eating dinner most of the time, but I can always cook food a little earlier, and if I have to, and eat a little earlier, or I can make something quick and easy, like a little bit of pasta or some fish fillet, some chips, things like that. So that works out for me. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Okay, I'll look at your message in a little bit. So yes, I still have a weekly appointment, yeah. Mimi, I'll look at your message a little bit. I'm kind of hard to look at it right now, so I will look at it in a little bit. Michelle, what kind of tablet? It's an Android Samsung A1 Lite tablet. It's in an external case. So it's a Samsung A1 Lite, A7 Lite, A7 Lite, thank you, Lynn. A7 Lite tablet. Okay. It's not the most advanced tablet. It's kind of entry level, but for this application it works, so I can still catch up and read the messages and things like that, and I can see if I'm in the screen and things like that. So it does work for that purpose. And that was one thing. Wow. As the temperatures get cooler, it's almost like your body is starting to kind of relax a little more and unwind a bit. Yeah. I saw a video. I didn't watch it because I thought it sounded kind of sad. It's talking about, Virgo, you will be leaving soon. Meaning, soon you're going to be leaving the building. And I was like, oh, please don't jinx me. I'm not afraid to leave, but, leave the building. Talking about kick the bucket, but it's not exactly something I'm looking forward to. I still haven't got a will and testament. I still haven't got any way to make sure Rusty will be provided for and not killed by somebody who thinks the cat should be just a dead cat. Or find a way to disperse my estate and give this projects to things like the Salvation Army, or have a estate sale or something like that to disperse the assets. I think a tag sale would be great, an estate sale. Maybe somebody might buy the stuff. People that are like me will buy the stuff, and they will. There are a lot of people like me out there that will buy all this gear. I'm kind of am a goth anyway. If you really think about it, I'm just not. I'm wearing black now. I just don't have black eyebrows or black circles under my eyes. I used to get dark circles under my eyes from lack of sleep, which you would definitely have your goth look. I have black circles here. I don't have any black mascara on or anything, or black lipstick, but, I am kind of a goth in a way. It's just not as noticeable. I think a lot of people like me are kind of neurodivergent anyway, so we kind of on the fringe. Oh yeah, let's not forget the ears. I have never seen a goth with ears like these. No, I haven't either. Oh. Oh, I have pierced ears down here. I have piercings. I don't have anything up here because my ears are probably going. Ew. No, maybe not quite, but yeah, I don't think you'd be able to wear how much heavy jewelry over here. It'll definitely make your ears hang down more, like this. What are those? Satellite receivers? If the satellite receivers are pointed at the long but the sky are supposed to go up, not down. I know. Tell you a story. Well, let's see. We haven't mentioned much about Carmen lately, have we? No. We haven't really talked much of Carmen. No, we actually didn't talk much this week. But I did talk to her briefly this morning, and she said to me is that I'm kind of glad that you guys are doing stuff, that you're getting out there more often. But she's like, she said, don't let anyone try to force you to do things that you don't want to do. You gotta stand up your ground. And so she's actually very happy that I did go out with Noodles to New York, in New Jersey. But she was a little disappointed when Noodles said that that community, in the community room number B, didn't really like me that much. She thought that was a little disheartening because she said to me, why would they not like a person that is being genuine? the Republican supporters, you would think that they would be thrilled to have you there. And I said, well, some of them like me. The university professor from Rutgers said I was pretty cool. And she said, I see. And yet, is he the one who facilitates the group, or is he the one that just there? So I think he's one of the facilitators. So then you would think that he would be able to tell them, other people, that are just regular viewers, that you should be welcome there. And you know, Carmen's right there is that, I don't know if that's really went down or not. We all know that Noodles likes to tell stories, and so we don't know what really happened. No one expressed any displeasure at me being there. So I'm not sure what to make of it. But one of the most important things that I noticed about what the Democrats are doing is they're so worried, as I said, about all the illegals, right? That they, like I said to the group, that they're not looking at the needs of the Americans who are born and raised here. And the majority of them agree with us. The couple of them you could say were playing devil's advocate and were trying to pick the Democrat side viewpoint. And I said, yeah, but you know, the problem is, at the same time, Democratic enclaves can't afford it. They don't have that kind of money to pay for all these illegal programs, because there's a good chance they may lose federal funding if they do. I wonder what Carmen would have said if she was there. If I was there, I would say to those people that if you think that you support all this illegal stuff and you think it's good to help people that have not come here to learn a better living, but rather just came here to get free stuff, then I would say go back to your home countries, because this country is not able to afford you. This is not a free fellow. Now, when you came here from Rio, you came here with the goal of working American in Paris. Yes. And you came in here to establish yourself on the American theater scene. Correct. I did come here for that reason, but I wasn't originally, but why not? I figured I was already here to establish myself, and so I found that my father, which was managing me, thought it would be good, and it is interesting because I didn't know any English. You didn't know nothing, no. And like we talked about before, is that you may have gotten signed into a contract that unfortunately may have been your downfall. Yes, I agree. All right, so see, Carmen, when she came here, she was originally on the Broadway play, American in Paris. And then she didn't know any English when she came here to the U.S. at all. Had no knowledge. Rio, at the time, wasn't speaking very much English at all. So, obviously, a contract has a lot of legalists and fancy words and twisted, convoluted terms. Obviously, for a person that knows no English and has very few people that spoke Portuguese, you have to basically, you're signing the equivalent of a blank check. Yes. And then you got into, you were one of the most highest paid performers in Hollywood. The highest paid Latina, the highest paid, and the only one. Yes. That was the first. Which is amazing when you think about it. Do you realize house is now owned by another Portuguese man? Yes. Are you happy? Yes. Of course you would be happy. Were you happy to see what it looks like now? Outside looks the same, but the inside is different. Yeah, it's... You were using a more of a natural wood coloring interior from the photographs. Yes. And he's got more like contemporary enameled furniture. No, Chris, that's me. That's Michelle. So no, I really, I just want to make sure people understand with Michelle. I don't want to see her do the same mistake that I did. She would burn herself out so quick if she did the same thing I did with YouTube. Streaming every day, every night. Hours of content. And each show would be less and less substantial and feeling more and more like just taking everything and just pouring the garbage back into another casserole. It's putting it one way. You see, next thing she'll be rehashing the stuff that she said 2 weeks ago. Like I said, a shitty casserole. Yeah, it's true though. Yeah, it's true. I don't disagree with that. I want you to make gourmet food, not casserole shit. Oh, I get it. I love it. You're right. I'm not doing that. Would you like me to shove my foot up your ass? That's cute. Shove a foot up your ass. She would too. If I could get my foot to transpire through, teleport through the monitor, more like shove it up his ass. I think you have to shove it in his face first. Now let's talk about that. On another area, you and I, Lomi, haven't really talked much about any upcoming projects lately. That's because we haven't really worked on anything. You and Lomi have been doing your own thing separately of each other. Yeah, it's true. Michelle lately has been doing a lot on her own. But then I have too. Is there something wrong? No, it's just we've just been doing our own things. See. So you've been doing things separately from Lomi, and Lomi's been doing things separately from you. And of course I haven't been around because I've been working with many other clients. Yeah. So it sounds to me like we need to get everybody back on the same page again. Well, it would be nice, we could do that. Thank you very much, Wyatt. I have an RV trailer. Yeah, she mentioned it. I worked on a trailer, so I originally was working, help kind of partially restore the Pico La Strada that we had in Goshen. Originally a tree fell through it. The difference between fixing that and the motorhome, the Titan home where tree fell through is that almost cut in half like a grilled cheese sandwich. The other one just got slightly bumped. Yeah. The Titan was totally smashed in half like a grilled cheese, and there was no way Michelle could fix it. No. After we spent all that money, me and Ed, restoring the plumbing and the electrical system and getting that thing back at the roadworthy condition, Well, within budget. Within budget. Yeah, that would have been nice if we could have kept it working. Um, but that's another ship that has sailed long ago, and I should say sunk. That's true. It's sunk for sure. Yep, a big cheap lunch decided to go smash through the roof. Now the whole thing looked like a good cheese sandwich sliced in half. Well, it's the sad reality. And what's worse is the new owner was sleeping in it at the time. Fortunately, we got out of there through the emergency window exit. But I don't think he was exactly too enthusiastic about that. I wouldn't blame him. Have I seen Star Wars? Yeah. Lisa is a boy, but he thinks he's trans. Who the heck is Lisa? I have no idea. Have you worked on any more of the story? Not really. There's not really much more to say right now. Of course, Carmen is now in the story. Yes, I do remember that you put me in the study in the end there that I was a small miniature version of my 313 North Riverside home was a very small version. Given that we didn't have a huge amount of land, but yeah, it's small. At least you got the front gate I did that I had. I loved my veranda gate. You had that. You kept that in the study. Yeah. And but the general house itself was reduced in size to and complexity to fit within the small amount of land we had available left for it. And so you still have your swimming pool. Okay, I still have a pool, but you ought to also on a lake. What the hell do I need a pool for? That's a great question. So you would actually watch David and Tara. David is the Arcturian boy, and Tara is a Palladian girl that Michelle and I adopted. Yes. And I know that you didn't really go into much discussion about how I was reacting with the kids. Why don't I let you figure that part out? Me? You want me to try to figure out how I would do with the kids? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, how would that go? Okay, let me try this. I understand you're going to these council meetings. Yeah, I'm involved in the local council and for both interplanetary discussions between the people of Earth and the people of the Palladian star cluster. Okay. So obviously, since my kids are still technically children, even in our Palladian concepts, even though they're over 300 years old, they have very long lives. Okay. And so you asked me to watch the kids, and I basically invited them over to my house. And Tara was watching me as I was making some new dresses that I was working on, because now that I was given another chance, a new home, a new life, and Ella, I decided to come and start working on some of my earlier designs and try to adapt it for the Aaron community. And so I started designing new dresses and huts and things, because my mother was a seamstress and she taught me how to do sewing as well. You also love to cook. Yes. Okay. Well, anyway, so Tella's watching me and she's learning how to do some of the stitches and making clothes. And she's very creative and artwork. And so she started asking me to how she could make some simple pieces for herself, for her Barbie dolls that she had. And so they started to work with her on designing and drawing up patterns for little dresses. And she was loving it. She was just absolutely having fun with the very, very tiny stitches in this artwork. Given the fact the size of a 6-inch Barbie and clothing for 6-inch Barbie, that's very, very fine stitch work. Very fine. And there's not really room for any kind of error. I mean, yes, you can make wider stitches, but it's gonna show. Right. So she was happily having a blast. And David would be enjoying my pool, jumping in and out, jumping in and out. Or they would sit down there and they watch some of my movies that we had from YouTube, because of the setup that we worked with the people of Earth. Michelle had established a special YouTube connection that would let us watch YouTube videos all the way from Earth in real time. Yes. And so he loved down the Argentine way, which I wanted to ask you what you thought about that. They said that perfectly what I was thinking. Well, it was, why did they not wait until I came done with my presentation that I was doing in Broadway? Because 20th Century Fox was too busy milking the cow. Oh, yes, they definitely were milking the cow. Unfortunately, it wasn't me who was getting milked this time. No, it wasn't you. It was Alice Faye. Yes. You see, Alice Faye was doing the acting that I would have probably been doing, because I would have probably been the perfect cast member for the role of the girl that goes to Argentina to work with a horse jumping trainer. Yeah, but because of my work in Broadway, New York, they decided to just shoot part of the film in 16mm film, which is when they was in Broadway, and then they would upscale it to 35mm, and then they spliced the footage in with the other footage. And then they actually built sort of a kind of a basic set outline on the Argentine way set. Yes, it does, but it's not exactly totally matched. But, thanks to the fact you don't see very much of it very long, you don't really see the errors. Oh, that's interesting. So he decided that he wanted to learn how to do some dancing of his own. He saw me like his aunt, and Tara saw me as her aunt, and so it was very easy that I was teaching. Tara asked me to teach her some basic samba. I taught her some basic samba, some basic Portuguese. David, I taught some of the basic moves too, but he wasn't too much into the Portuguese. And did you have a good time? Sharing time with both me and Michelle's stepkids. I think that Tara was much more definitely much more like a human, taller than a human girl, but looked pretty much like human girl. So she really kind of did really well with a lot of stuff that I was doing. David was Actolian boy. He was blue. Yes, he's blue. Like a light bulb. Wow, that's really weird to think about it. How you doing, E? Oh, that's kind of weird when you think about it. And it certainly was. I can visualize that. I can almost see like David to you, as you said. How he looks like a squeeze bulb. No, like a light bulb that was painted blue. With a nose and eyes. And I didn't even know where his ears were. Oh, he had ears. They were like small. Yes. Very, very, very much into the engineering and the sciences. So one of the things that he was watching on YouTube was motion picture editing. Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, he absolutely was totally enamored with the use of full coat magnetic film used for soundtracks and synchronizing the audio and the video using a film synchronizer. I know what that is. I learned about that too. It's a neat little device. You use a amplifier that picks up the sound from the film coat, and as you moving independently, and then you lock them together when the film and the sound are in line, and then you have the perfect soundtrack. That's why you have the clapper. The clapper is used not only for when you see the shot. When it closes, it has a scene and a take. When it closes, where it closes, that clack is when you know that the film for the audio and the magnetic full coat is in sync. Yeah. That is kind of cool, and definitely is different than with video. But I use the same technique here at the studio. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Hammer and Nails. We do the same thing here. A lot of times, if I choose that I want to supplement or overlay something, like we did the song from Hartford to Silver Moon. I had the clips, I had the soundtrack. But there were certain key words in the song that were supposed to be for changing the frame. Okay. And so the main thing is originally I was doing was just that. I was just dropping the frames at that time point. And what it was doing was just making this sudden chopping of the scenery. So the easiest way to do that then was to find the mark on the sound, and right at that point where the words start is just line up with where I want at the beginning of the segment. Now you can imagine how complicated it was with motion pictures, because the fact is motion pictures you have, it's not just a 30-second piece of picture, it was a whole entire scene would be shot on film, and then at the same time any earlier should be recorded to records and with a transcription turntable. That's because magnetic tape came after World War II. Yes. Okay, so you would still then have the same problem. Now you gotta get, so before the advance of magnetic tape or even full coat, it was a matter of lining up again the clap mark with where the clap mark is on the one playing record. It wasn't so long play then. They were still using the standard 78 stylus, but they were actually going at 33 and a third speed, yes. Okay. So you would light up and then once you figure out where it starts, the record starts, and then it would line up with the picture then how in the hell did they send the finished product to make the final video pictures? Out of the dailies, yeah, it would to go to the producer and the editing room, which would then take the 33 1/3 records, and they would take the film would be cut right so it lined up with the record, started the record. So in other words, they would be cut right there, boom, and then that segment and that record side would be sent to the final preparing agency that would record sync the film on to the final print that would then be copied to sent to theaters. Oh, okay. So that part was later done on magnetic full coat, but that was done, yes, on records at that time. So the cutting it, the pieces, and then so when the final print would be made, it was because we have this record, this sound, this film piece that goes to this record, and then you would send those to the final production that would combine everything together in sequence. That must have been a pain in the ass. They had lots of retakes. Oh! I couldn't imagine under incandescent studio light sources, carbon arc lighting. Oh my God, you must have been hot. It was toasty. Whoa. Now we keep forgetting about that, how it is now. When we take about, okay, we gotta reshoot. You know, and it's just, you just said push play in the recording, on a video recorder or a camcorder, and you just go ahead and start over. But in that case, not only did you have the whole hundreds of feet of film that potentially could end up in the garbage can, in 35 millimeter or 16 millimeter, you had that was why motion pictures costed so much. Don't forget the dailies. The dailies are the ones that the editors work with, but also the dailies are what we would be showing to the actors and actresses and the crew, so that they could see if there's something that the producer liked or didn't like. And depending on how it came out, he might just throw a whole shot in the garbage can and go, nope, or are you doing it completely from scratch? Oh my God. And so you would have to remember all those lines. And then as the script writers were changing the lines, or sometimes they'd strike out whole sections of lines and give you a whole new page to put into your scrapbook. Oh my goodness. And you had to remember so you were doing 8 to 10 hour days doing this. And that's the reason why so many of them were using so many drugs to stay active, because they were just getting burnt out. And it was hot. I can tell you that on a movie that came out a lot later than you, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the chocolate was a mix of water and chocolate and powdered milk. Oh my God, that must have stunk to high hell. Now it did, apparently. I heard that the set stunk to high hell too, and but it was really interesting because I didn't really know this until I saw the video about behind the scenes of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. What happened, how it was the film, the way it was, the why. The Gustavus really was not drinking that crap, because that would have been toxic. It would have been spoiled milk. It would have been spoiled milk, and the hot incandescent studio lighting would have basically was curdling this milk. It just stunk so bad. And of course, the cup that Willy Wonka was drinking out was It just contained tap water, not chocolate. And you can see if you watch it that there was several retakes because it didn't always come out right. Yes, retaking was something that a cameraman and director would choose to do if they felt that a shot wasn't exactly what he wanted. So yes, I could see how he could have been redoing that take multiple times, but they didn't give him a new cup. That's what happened is this was a sugar kind of cup, and the water was just dissolving it. So they would have to give him, so he would be trying to recycle it to use as much as he could because they were tight budget, yes. They were tight, very tight budget. How does all this technology compare to your studio today? Well, thanks to digital technology, we do a lot of things electronically. Like, for example, retakes are pretty straightforward. We would just reshoot on another file, and then if the file doesn't look any good, or we'll take it and put it in the Final Cut Express, Final Cut Pro, and edit it to keep the good parts. And if there's a better scene from another take, we'll take that and drop that in its place. But then, just like we said with the clapper or the early film full coat, you have to still try to synchronize me or you in the retakes in this case, so they would fit on the piece so it doesn't look too inconsistent. That's where transitions are used. Yes, that transitions, what those back then is it costed a lot of money to do transitions. The fade was the cheapest. The fade's what I use most of the time. Yeah. Because these all take a lot longer to do. Yeah, let's see here is, I'm front, I'm back, I'm left. That says LOL. Herself a good story she's telling. Well, we're not actually talking specifically about the story, but we're talking a little about the background of where I came from and how I got here and what. We're not talking about the how you got here part. I know. We should. We will talk about that. So, as you know, I did the Jimmy Durante show, and I wasn't feeling well. And I went home, and I was in the process of going to the bathroom, going into my bathroom, and I had a heart attack right there. And when my maid found me, I was already beyond resuscitation. Well, they sure had the privilege of dying at home. I could say that was a convenience. Not. Because maybe if I had died in the hospital, I would have had a chance to be resuscitated. But I was so full of drugs, barbiturates, and erasers, and cigarettes, and alcohol. I don't think I would have probably pulled through at the time. I'd given the medical care back in the 1950s. So when I came to here, to the other side, of course, I was 1955. Everybody recognized me. So I was really busy with lots of clients, lots of phone people wanting to learn how to dance and how to sing and how to perform and on Earth, and people going, I'd really, really, really would like to talk to Carmen Miranda. So they all called me. And I had a huge caseload working with many people. Were you expecting that? Yes, I did, and it was just as bad up there as it was here, because the fact is, of course, I don't get tired, I do here on Earth. I was just going from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, all night long, 24 hours a day. You don't sleep there. You don't have to. Because the Holy Spirit keeps you fed and keeps you energized. Okay. So I I worked with all my clients, but of course, as my name slowly faded away into obscurity, my new clients dropped off to the point when Lumi contacted Mother Asna, who contacted me. I was down to 3 to 4 clients. You're the fourth. See, how many did you go for a day? About 25 to 3, 4, 4. Of course, unlike the other clients, you were pretty easy to work with because it was just a matter of, Lumi was only working with me on it. Yeah, I was. So I said yes, and then after I achieved, Michelle got dancing, and technically at that point I was done because I've achieved my goal. And then Mother Asna gave me a new client, which was to work with a man with multiple substance abuse issues. And I absolutely could not get him to change for the better. He just wasn't willing to put the effort in. And it was reminding me too much of my past, and it was making me sad. And I remember all the joy and happiness meeting Michelle, and I said to Mother God, I said, I like to go back to Michelle and Lumi. And she said, but you already met her goal, you already met her obligation. I know, but I've gotten to like them both as friends. And she said, well, you can still be friends with them, you can still work with them, it's up to you. And that's when I came back here, and Michelle was so excited to have me back because it was like, oh my God, you come back. And I still do the other 3, but I don't. You have a house on the other side, and yet you don't stay there anymore. No, I sleep on your couch. I know, because I like your couch. Your 2 couches, my spiritual couch is so soft and plush, and it's the fact that I'm near the 2 of you, with your energy that you exude. It's just so magical, and I love it. Whereas I'm sitting in going to my home, and the other side, it's just basic boring, and there's no one to talk to, because no one remembers me anymore. What about the other actors and actresses that passed away that worked with you? Yeah, well, they're still there, but they're still trying to work with other people too, so we don't have time to talk as much as we used to. Very interesting. You could say that Nicole King, Gonzalez, you could say she's channeling somebody, but I'm actually shedding the body with Michelle and Nomi when I'm here. Yeah, Carmen is the 3rd wheel. The 3rd wheel. Yeah, you're like the 3rd wheel of I don't know, Vespa. A Vespa has 2. Yeah, it does. So think of it as a 3-year-old, but make a bicycle with a sidecar. Okay, I see that now. So yes, in a way she is channeling, but in a way she's not. Yeah, it's confusing. It is. But what is not confusing is seeing Michelle go from 0 to hero, and they're absolutely so much pleased to know that she's come a long way. Even if she doesn't dance as much as she used to, the fact is that Michelle is getting back her energy to work on her projects again and feels like a contributing member of the artistic community. To me, that is a major step in the right direction. So if we go back to the story now, do you think if the story was true? It's not. It's fiction at this point. Maybe someday, maybe it'll become a true story. Who knows? I would say if the opportunity did present itself and you ever did get a chance to go to the era of the Pleiades, that you would be absolutely enthralled with you and Yumi traveling and living in a uniquely environment that's not like Earth, except it is a lot like Earth. It is very much like Earth. Um, I think you would flourish. The Virgo in you would absolutely, totally get into the vibration. As the Palladian star state, you especially would definitely feel the positive air and energies in your soul. But at this point, it's a story only. It's not real. But maybe one day it may be a thing. Maybe I have to die first. I'm glad you brought that up because when you, me, Lomi, when you two go home, I'm gonna be going with you to Silver Moon. That's her plan. Yes. And Jesus asked you and me and Lomi if we could stay before he goes straight to Silver Moon. If we could stay there to meet the people coming in from the second coming, when the graves are opened. Yes, so that we'll be there for meeting our relatives. And we'll be gathered in the clouds, as it says, I think in chapter 22. And we would meet our relatives and their loved ones. And then after we meet with them, we're going to go straight to Silver Moon after that. Because we would have met the obligation. And I do appreciate the fact that you have said to Jesus, yes, I will do that, I will wait. Well, there's no technically no time in heaven or on the other side, so we could be there for months, and it would seem like minutes. That's true, it would seem like minutes to you. So I would say is that go out there and enjoy the chance to see your loved ones, your father. I know you loved your dad. I love my dad for a lot of reasons. Number one, he was a smart guy. He was a woodworker extraordinaire. He also made a very strong personal commitment to quit drinking. And like Bradley Sharp, who's been sober for 80 days, my father quit drinking on his own in 1976, 77, and he never went back. And he finally got a chance to get to meet his family and his kids that he only knew from the bottom of a shot glass. And so for my dad, I was so happy that he quit drinking because he was an angry drunk and nobody liked him when he was an angry drunk. Me and my sister would hide. He'd come home and he would be yelling at my mother about bills and budgets, and she'd be harping about, oh, we gotta pay this bill, we gotta pay this bill. My poor old man, he just couldn't take it anymore, and he would just start beating her up because he couldn't cope with it. So for watching this as a 7 and 8-year-old, I just scared me to death. And it would scare me too to see that. Now, your father was a barber, your mother was a seamstress. Did he ever do that to your mom? No. No, he never did that to my mom. He never drank that much. Besides a little bit now and then, he didn't get too much into the alcohol. Well, I gotta tell you that I think that I understand why Michelle is very proud of her fathers and Bradley for making that decision to quit. I think that takes a lot of dedication to keep up with your commitment to your family and friends. I would have to just say to you, Bradley, congratulations, and that I'm really happy that you kept by your word. I agree. We don't have whatever. You don't have a separate hand. We only have two hands, right? So I was all put both fingers up. I'm really glad Bradley made that effort. I'm really, I'm really happy to know that my father. Which I guess that's another thing they want to know about is the headdresses. Oh, how did you keep them on your head when you were dancing, like in that scene to Welcome to the Caribbean that you were doing for the introduction for the weekend in Havana, without that thing falling off your head? There was a strap on the back that basically helped attach it to my head, to the back of my neck. That's why you didn't see too much of me on the back. No, you didn't really see much of your back. That's because that was a whole back of the turban that was designed to hold it in place. But the plastic food was still very heavy. It was enormous. Yeah. And the third height halter dress to cover me down here to your boobs. Just about. It was so short, yes. Oh, uh, I you have to remember that, Michelle, back then things were different back then. They didn't have people getting too concerned about possible nakedness. But yet, even then, you were still risking a wardrobe malfunction if something went bad. Oh, yes. Like when Cesare Romero picked you up for the promotion of the movie shot, and you showed him a full face of bush. Oh my God, I didn't wear any underwear. You didn't wear any underwear. Was there a reason? Underwear back then was very bulky, very heavy material. It was not very good for tight gowns. I wanted to look good. If Michelle did it now, you'd be seeing a big bay window sticking out the front. No, don't you dare. But you're right. Michelle is a little portly. But hey, she's a good person, though. Yeah, I'm a good person. Just happen to be just the way I'm built. And you're only 5'1". I'm only was 5'1". So I had these custom-made platform shoes made in Rio. So I pick up another 4 inches. You were kind of in some ways the predecessor to a lot of the platform shoes used in the disco era. It was kind of funny about that because, yes, I've heard that. And I had nothing to do with disco. But everybody loves your platform shoes and your flamboyant outfits, and some of it got used in the disco era. Would you have loved to do disco? Would you have done it? I don't know. I've never done disco in my life. I have no idea how I would do it. But I suspected you could teach me. Oh, no, not really. I don't really know disco that well. Maybe a little bit of movements, but not much. And then of course, then you'll have all these men dressing up as drag as you. I don't know where that came from either. I don't understand where the men in drag came from. It's part of the same disco thing. I I'm almost a full-blooded female. How would I be willing to do stuff in drag? You weren't, but the people attributing to you were doing that. How did that get involved with the LGBT community? I don't know. But I will tell you what I will tell you. You already know the answer, Michelle. I'm bi. I know you're bi. And I also know that you did your best to keep looking like you were heterosexual at the time because you back then in the 1940s, if they knew that you were sleeping with both, you could have kissed your career goodbye. Very dangerous back then. No, I believe it. And your husband there, he was. We tried to have a child twice, and it didn't work. The second time, the complications of the pregnancy killed you. Yes. But he was such a slug. Don't know why I picked him. He was a director. He was a director. He knew me. He wanted to market me. He worked me to death. Like the family cow. Well, he must have made some good milk. I made good milk, but it was very much going spoiled because of all the stress. I wasn't making the best milk I was making before when I was doing it as my own passion. And that's the, again, is the reason I say to you, never ever let anybody try to force you to do something you do not want to do. Never ever let anyone burn you out. Because you are beautiful, you're special, and you deserve to be you and do things the way you do. Never let someone try to tell you your idea is stupid or not wrong or whatever. You do the things you love, you show the passion, you do those things, and that's what you do. You focus on the things you love. If someone else wants something else, they can do it themselves. If you want to go ahead to do it, that's fine. You agree? That's good. But if they're trying to force it on you, that's not good. Don't let them do that to you. I was so exhausted after all those interviews and doors and things like that. The USO, which the filming of the USO, I think it was in 1952, 53. 53, you look like a friggin' zombie, right? Oh, I was totally a zombie. I was like so pumped up with my hot uppers and knocked down on barbiturates and all the cigarettes and alcohol. My God, my body was basically running a wreck. It was a running wreck, all right. And Michelle could see that. Even your voice, your passion was gone. You were washed out. I was. And that's again is what I tell you, Lomi. Never let Michelle get there. Oh, I don't have to worry about Michelle not getting there. Michelle is a pretty tough ass. She will keep herself from getting there. That's what you need to kick in too. Because Michelle also is the kind of person that wasn't then for letting go. Oh, fuck it, I'll do it anyway. Even if she doesn't like it. But people know if she's faking it. I know. And the people that were my most loyal audience, including Michelle, could see that in the end I was faking it too. I was washed up. I was a husband. A former shell of my original self. Well, that's something to think about. I don't want to see Michelle become a has-been. And I don't want to be a husband either. I want to see her to continue to do her passions. Even if it's not the same as Noodles and his concept of what he likes to see. Her spontaneous antics doesn't work for Michelle. Michelle is the kind of person who likes to work and plan it in, not into the spontaneity of what Noodles is doing. It's a different personality than Michelle. And we need to keep that in mind. Well, I agree with you, Carmen, that Michelle really does want to get ahead. And she will get ahead. I tell you right now, I know Michelle. Even if she doesn't get a house this year, or next year, or whatever, I know Michelle is like Yosemite Sam. She was gonna keep opening all those doors. I know that woman. She will not quit. She will not give up. That's why the words the purple dress apply. She will not quit. She will not give up. She will never give in. You know, because Michelle is just the way she is. She's just a tough woman that puts a lot of work into what she does every day. And I think that should be also advice for all the rest of you guys, ladies and gentlemen out there. You'll never settle for less than you really want. You work to achieve your goal. If you have to compromise, make sure it's a fair compromise that both you and the other person can agree to. Never underestimate yourself. Never sell yourself short to nobody. Amen. 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 Thanks, Carmen, for that. So, in the story, though, what do you think Tara and David would be doing? I think that if we present the story and flash forth to, given their age, I would say about another 15 years, that both would be very active in the different careers. David would probably be very busy working with technology to introduce motion pictures to air, but air already has video, so he probably would say, so I already have the technology. Well, maybe some of the adaptations of what he saw from the YouTube videos might be transferred to air to teach some older style editing. Tara, I could see her with a little clothing line of clothes and her cooking products and her dancing. I don't think she'd be a full-time dancer. Because they don't have to get paid in air. Air, you do the things you love. You're provided for. You don't have to earn money to live. For your needs are provided for by the community. So in a way, it's a commune kind of setup, but it's not communism. No, it's not communism from what I see, no. Should be interesting, but what about when we go to Silver Moon, when we finally get there? Silver Moon is not exactly a commune either. No. I see me and I see you and Lumi when we are born again, physically born again as new babies. We're going to grow up together as friends. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things as friends together, and eventually you and Lumi will each individually meet up with other people is one possibility. Or Lumi may meet somebody else that he turns out to be not what he was expecting, and then she leaves him. And then she comes back to you because you will remember her past with you. And she would rather remain with you even if she has a separate body. What about you? Oh, I would just say is that as adults that there might be some experimenting. Yeah, okay. But remember, Lumi, that there's no marriage there in a sense because your marriage here does not transcend over to there. That's true. So in other words, you're saying is me and Michelle's marriage here don't apply. No. And so what means is that I might be dating Michelle for a while. What happens in the end, do you think? I suspect in the end what's going to happen is that we're probably going to request a marriage certificate for three women and married to each other. Lesbian relationship. Wow. Actually, that sounds like a solution to a problem. It would solve a lot of problems for everybody. We'll leave it up for my audience to figure out how that's going to go. Yeah, that would be up to your audience to see. Yes, this is Karen talking with Domi. And suddenly getting to see the different thing. Well, the thing is that the Silver Moon doesn't talk about the non-combat talents. I could see Michelle going in to become a mage, a priestess. a druid. Right now there's no druids in Silver Moon. I don't think. No, that's a good point, because you might be the very first one. Remember that you and Malfurion of the Night Elves, you would be have a statue next to him, and they would erect a Malfurion statue next to you in a little garden, according to one of your photos. Yeah. And then the railway that you talk about in your study, Silver Moon, was created by Jason Hernandez, who made that to connect the United States to Silver Moon to help revitalize the community. And then, of course, Silver Moon Radio was Michelle's. No, wasn't Michelle's idea. That came from another person. But Michelle, because of her knowledge, probably would help something to do with Silver Moon Radio. Maybe an announcer, maybe a storyteller. And I do see that it's going to be a very exciting, interesting challenge for everybody. But the problem is that is many, many years away. We hope it's not going to be tomorrow, it's not going to be next week. We don't plan it soon. We just try to make the best of our time on this planet now. And don't do what I did, Michelle, and don't rush your way to the next opportunity and then not coming around and smell the flowers or where you are now, because if you do that, you're going to be going home with the other side with no memories. No memories. You want that? You want to have, say, gee, Mother God, I have rushed my way through life. I have done everything, boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, then you say, what the hell did I get out of it? I didn't get anything. I just went from here to there, to there, to there, to there. I never had a chance to enjoy any of the moments with friends or family. I was just rush. The same was true with me. Sometimes, occasionally, a night party with a couple of friends, and then that would be it. And then going out to another job, then traveling across country, going to Broadway, or I'd be working on my clothing line, on my hat line, or working in the motion pictures on set at 20th Century Fox, and traveling to overseas ports of call. First by ship and then of course by plane, and what's that really getting out of that? A blur. A blur, is that exactly. It's not, don't remember anything. Makes your life feel so fast that you don't know if you're coming or going. But of course, between all the barbiturates and all the stimulants and all the alcohol, my God, I was surprised I didn't even remember anything. And the antidepressants, oh my God, did I forget those? Oh, they were pretty bad then. But compared to today's stuff, they were kitty food. Today's meds are way worse than that, and if you do need those meds, you need to make sure your doctors are watching their dosages. And that's something, I don't want to get too much into that because that's very depressing. But what do you think about today's kids? Given the way that they're growing up now, they're losing their childhood. They don't have one. It's their whole child is gone before they're even 5 years old. And they're already talking about, do you want to become a boy? Do you want to become a girl? Do you want us to start you on hormones? Do you want us to go arrange for you to get your organs removed? These are 5-7-year-old kids now, and they're doing this to these children, and they don't even have a normal childhood. It's always rush. But who's rushing? Is it the parents? Is it the kid? No, it's not the kid. The kid's pretty much being kind of pushed into it. For the most part. There are some that do want to do it. They've already kind of made up their mind long ago. But I don't think it's the answer. What about just kids being kids? Why can't kids just be kids? Because for some reason they don't want kids to be kids. And so the kids have no childhood, it's gone. It is sad because in the 1970s I had a childhood. Oh yes, you did. You had some really interesting times, Michelle, as a kid. Very interesting times. Growing up in East Hartley, Connecticut, running around in the fields, climbing trees, wading around in the swamps, catching frogs with my sister, watching my brother catch fish in the pond, going or walking across the brook to go see my relatives. It was magical. It was a special time for you. Yeah. You were lucky you had a childhood. Yeah, I did. And I loved it because think back of it now, I can almost remember it like it was yesterday. Today's kids don't even have anything to remember. No, they don't. What about you, me? Oh, hanging out with the other girls and compy, talking about boys, playing tag with the boys and the girls, in the streets, snowball fights in the wintertime. Talking about, the bullies in school, the kids in school, exchanging lunches during lunchtime. We didn't have hot lunches in school back then. They were all bag lunches. Yeah. And there was, and helping out my father, Herman, with his dry goods store, learning how to keep books, crowning a burglar with a heavy 12-inch cast iron skillet. You told me that story. I actually hit him, by the way. You did? He went down with a bag of potatoes. Boom. He was threatening to rob from my father. Oh my goodness. What did the local authorities say? Well, they said that since he was indeed attempting to rob, that we were right to defend ourselves and there would be no charges filed. He did recover, but he did have a really bad concussion for a while, but he did recover. Did you ever hit anyone like that before, after that? Or was it just the first time? I kind of came close a couple times, but no, I was the only time I really hit anybody, and I kind of felt bad for it. But he was pointing a small little firearm at my father. So, if you had made one mistake, you could have accidentally caused him to fire that gun anyway. Always a risk. That's why I slammed him on the side of the face. Oh! On the side! You're lucky he didn't break his neck. Well, I could have easily. That was a heavy skillet. But it made him fall. The gun did go off, but it didn't hit anybody. But it did leave a hole in the ceiling. Oh, jeez. It was a cartridge type revolver. Oh, wow. So the point is that, well, your father wanted you to marry the son of the meat butcher next door. Yeah, he wanted to expand. And I knew the young man, and I believe his name was Gregory. The problem was this kid was just basically a stuck-up stunt. I didn't like him. He was just not the friendliest guy in the world, and he'd always seemed to think that, that my father's business was just nothing like his father's because it wasn't as popular. But like we pointed out to him, is we sell the saucepans and the Dutch ovens that cooked your meat. He was like, oh yeah, right. Your pans are so important, but we make the meat that goes in the pans, and that was just generally just kind of stupid bullshit like that. So when my father said to me, "It's Lorena," that's my legally given name is Lorena and Vanessa. You know, why don't you go ahead and marry Gregory, and then you two, and then I get a piece of the family business in the meat industry, and I could expand in my dry goods into the meat industry and make the business bigger. See, my father was thinking money. Wasn't thinking about how I felt about it. I didn't like Gregory, like I said. He was a pompous ass. So I just said, nope, not doing it. And he said, oh, guess what? You're no good to me. You're 18, go get your stuff, get the hell out of here. So I left home and I started working in local hotels, sculleries, taverns. It turns out Michelle was doing something similar later on. Yeah, I was doing something similar, working in food restaurants and stuff. Later on in my own life. Yeah, I started back in 1994. Yeah. And, of course, we had automated dishwashing equipment back then. You did everything by hand. Yeah. But you had one job where you washed pots and pans by hand, plates by hand. Yeah, I did. Your hands looked like lizard skin. The soap was terrible. Oh my God, I didn't forget that. Working with American food courts. My heel spurs were killing me. Yeah. Fortunately enough, the heel spurs eventually dissolved, and I was able to keep going and get back on my feet. And the heel spur was in the same left leg that you have now with a broken kneecap in. Yeah, broken kneecap and the hairline freaks from my hip. Oh my Lord. My left leg, which is your leg, is a mess. Yeah, it's a mess. They said that they would have to rebuild the whole leg from beginning to end, from scratch. Make you like into the Bionic Woman. Pretty much. If Lindsay Wagner and Bionic Woman there, pretty much is what they would do with Michelle. With bionic eyes. You know, super leg muscles. That would be probably cool for Michelle, but that's not really what happened. No, couldn't afford it. Exactly, you couldn't afford it. Is it being in chat? No, Michelle's not being in chat because she's trying to. So I'm just trying to catch up with the Michelle. You want to catch up with the chat? Let's see. BBS Blizzard made Silver Moon. Yes, we know that. But actually, Silver Moon, as you know, is built based on the concept of Takeda and Era Takeda as well. Dots, park up, exploding. Carmen is a homewrecker. No, not really. She's not as bad as she used to be. Nella was a homewrecker by nature. It was just kind of got stuck in a position. What does this have to do on Carmen Miranda? Actually, it has a lot to do with everything. You want to know the backstory. You wanted the story, yes. So how about the real story? That's what we're telling you, the real story. Yeah, it's a story. It is a story. It looks like it is just about time to wrap it up. Let's see, what time is that? 1 hour and 108 minutes. 108 minutes. It's almost 2 hours. It's almost 2 hours. Yes, it is almost 2 hours. And so tomorrow morning is the morning show starting at 10 o'clock. And followed by the 7:30 is Turtle Wow. Then on Thursday at 7 o'clock, around then again will be another episode of a vertical stream. And again, of course, the morning show is every day, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. until 1 o'clock, sometimes longer. And this next week, and next week, it's gonna be very cool. So it's gonna be very easy going. You're not gonna have to run your air conditioning as much. and at least in the Northeast. I wouldn't say that's going to play everywhere, but looking at the cold front coming in, the fall air is coming in early, and so that means that people will be seeing the cool down. Now, Aaron, the hurricane, is likely to affect North Carolina, or the Carolinas. I don't know if it's going to affect um, everybody in the East Coast. And, these systems can change direction and do all kinds of weird stuff. If it goes more west, it's going to affect more of the Carolinas and New Jersey, New York, Washington, Pennsylvania. If it goes more east, it's more than likely going to have less impact. The system is not as tight right now because the winds are not as fast. So you want to see things kind of be a little more tropical system strength as the bands are going to affect the Carolinas right now at this point. I just know is that I'm very happy that that you came today and you joined the show and you got a chance to hear some of the other stories that you didn't hear about in the past, how we got together, why we do things together. And I'm absolutely very, very thankful that you all came here today. And I'd like to say something on my side, if I may. I would like you to remember that Michele is not a local. She is not your local. Do not milk for laugh. Absolutely don't milk Michele for laugh. Michele is really serious when she does. Yes, exactly. And I want people to remember that. You have a very gracious hostess, and that you should be very thankful that such a special person is taking on a mission to create a unique environment on YouTube for you and for your community. And this is a beautiful person, and that this person should always be remembered and respected for her generosity and kindness. Thank you, Carmen. You're welcome. I don't have a soundboard, so this kind of is a soundboard of an applause clapping. Thank you very much for talking about that. Great. Alright, guys, so tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., I'll see you then. Everybody gets a good night's sleep, and we'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.